Welcome to the Winning in Business podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Rissy, and I love talking to business professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs who are winning in business. Are you ready to reach your next level of success? If so, join us on the Winning in Business podcast as I interview entrepreneurs, business professionals, and leaders who share how they've risen to success. Before we begin, go ahead, hit subscribe and the notification button so you'll be notified each time a new episode is released. Plug in and settle in. You're about to be inspired to rise up to your next level of success. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Winning in Business. I'm your podcast host, Kelly Rissy, and I'm super excited today to be here with Alesha Henley, is a highly experienced marketing professional who has worked at highly branded companies such as Rust-Oleum, Orbitz, Ameritech, which is now AT&T, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and the St. Louis Regional Chamber. Today, she is the founder and CEO of A Dose of Insight, a marketing strategy and consulting firm. Alesha also serves as a senior managing director of the Center of Creative Arts, otherwise known as COCA. Alesha is on a mission to normalize what is to be profitable and sustainable for small businesses in the first few years of operation through holistic marketing strategies and integrated plans. And as a small business owner, I appreciate you doing that, Alesha. That's fabulous. We'll probably talk about that more. But she is a forward-thinking leader. She is a transformational leader, and she also strives to make the world a better place for those who are underserved. And she was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. She's lived in the Chicago area for over 20 years and now resides in St. Louis with her husband, Ron. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm excited to dive into just your wisdom, what has made you super successful over the years, and just let us learn more about you.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you for the invite.
You are welcome. So let's start with the question of, how did you get into doing what you do now as the CEO and founder of your own company?
It's really interesting, Kelly. I kind of fell into it. Many people say I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and that's all I ever wanted to do was own my own business. And I can't say that that is true for me. I was presented with an opportunity to work on a project. And as I was sitting talking to the woman, I said to myself, I can do that. I can do that. As she kept talking, I kept saying, I can do that. And then it came up and came out. And I said, I can do that. And she was like, really? And I said, yes, really. And A Dose of Insight was born. Mm-hmm. I took that project. It was my first project. A Dose of Insight was born, and I have been going ever since, helping small businesses develop their strategies and plans from a marketing perspective to grow their business. So I've always been passionate about marketing, but I never thought that I would be doing it for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that, what did you find anything difficult in the jump doing it by yourself?
Absolutely. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart, Kelly. Mm-hmm. And you know this probably just as well as I do. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of hurdles and obstacles just from, your craft, but running a business and all aspects of said business is not necessarily your strength. So finding the right people to help and support your business from accounting and operations and setting things up the proper way, whether you want to be an LLC or an S Corp or a corporation, ensuring that you are MBE, minority or woman-owned business. Mm-hmm. Like all of these things I found out through trial and error. So it is always difficult. And then when you grow to a point that you have more work than you can do, yes, who are you going to entrust your clients with that has the same work ethic and customer service that you do to ensure that your brand stays in a positive light?
Mm-hmm. That's so interesting. And I feel like I'm going out of order of my normal realm of questions, but that's okay, because we're just going to have a conversation. It's all going to be
Let's
good.
do it.
And, I read a book, and I actually said this on one of my other podcasts, but I feel like it goes along with what you just said. As entrepreneurs, one of our biggest things as being business owners is to create more jobs. Right? Like that.
Indeed.
And I don't feel like, for me personally, when I started my business, that was not my thinking.
No.
Of like, what, who else am I going to pay and employ? And you know what I mean?
Yes.
All of that stuff. And yet you are 100% correct that there comes a time when you are scaling up that it's inevitable and it has to happen.
It does. And you don't start off thinking that way.
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. Okay, so let's go into what are some of the big ahas that you want to share that have contributed to your success?
With age comes wisdom, as they say.
Yes. So we either have to admit that we're older and wiser,
or that we're younger and not quite as wise.
Yes, exactly.
So, I think there's some just very key things that helps anybody be successful, and know your stuff. Like, you can get a client, but you're not going to be able to keep the client if you're not attuned to what you're doing. You have to show them the money, as the phrase goes, right? You can get someone, but keeping them, you've got to know what you're doing, and you've got to be able to tailor what you're doing to meet the client's needs, because it's really not about you. It's about the people that you're serving and the people that you're helping. Mm-hmm. So there's a million people out there that do marketing consulting. People choose me because of the relationship. So it's not about sales. It's not about these flashy things it is about the trust and knowing what you're doing, and be able to convince someone that you really do know what you're doing and you do have their best interest at heart.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's key. Definitely the relationship piece is like, that's key, because with the relationships comes the trust, right? Without that, sure. You don't have the trust.
For
sure. You said something else that made me think, oh yes, like in my business, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it flipped out of my head. It might come back in a minute. So
okay.
Keep going.
And with knowing your stuff, you also have to be humble, because again, there are people out there that know exactly what you know, that have as much, even more experience than you know. But being humble and being able to meet people where they are is really key, because who wants to be involved with a show off? Mm-hmm. Who wants to talk to someone that's always talking about themselves? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to the first thing I said of knowing your stuff. You have to convince your client that you have their best interest at heart, because it's really about the client, not about you.
Yes. And I think that's what it was. It was about the client, because no matter how much we know, it still is always, what does the client want? Right? Exactly. Like, I might see this direction, and yet if the client wants that direction, and we also, I'm sure you will probably agree with this as well, as the expert, sometimes we have to get them to come along to the side that we see, right?
Absolutely.
And that takes the time and the trust and the relationship. Like, all of that goes together.
100% agree. Mm-hmm. For
yes.
Sure.
Yes. Good. Okay, good. So be humble. What else?
Yes. Find your tribe. You need your personal board of directors, because entrepreneurship can be a very lonely journey, because it is inherent in the way it's described. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
So you need to find the people that are going to support you, whether that is personally, whether that is professionally. You need that mentor to be the referral, to be the voice in the room when you're not there, to refer you to new clients, to help you upscale, to put you in places that you may not get on your own. So find that tribe that will support you, uplift you, and encourage you with what you're doing.
Yes. Yes. I look at my own, just in my business as well, like how important that was for me, especially coming from where I was in, I was not in corporate, but I was in a place where I was around people every day. And all of a sudden I'm working by myself and being at home and in an office where nobody else. Now, some people would love that, but for me, being an extrovert, right? I'm like, I don't have anybody to talk to. What in the world is going on? And that makes a difference for us, because that's where I get my energy. And then all of a sudden I'm home by myself. You know what I mean? So really finding that tribe, the accountability partners, the referral partners, and the coaches, you know, just like you said, that help continue to help us upscale ourselves.
Yes.
As well as our business.
Right. Yeah. Right. When you upscale yourself, you upscale by your business by definition.
Yes. Yes.
Because as entrepreneurs, we are the face of our business. Mm-hmm. So if you're taking care of you, you're also taking care of your business.
Yes. Love that for sure. Mm-hmm. Great. Excellent. Okay. What else you got?
You know, when we were little, our parents always told us to treat others the way you wanted to be treated. And I'm going to flip that on its head today. And I'm going to say, treat others the way they want to be treated. Because that, if you have the discernment to understand how they want to be treated, and you can be flexible enough to treat them that way, regardless to the way you feel is the right thing, that goes a lot longer way for others.
Yes, this goes back to like what comes to me off the top of my head. First of all, knowing people, right? Like you got to know and understand people. The short version of it is what I'm going to say is understanding like the disc. Right?
Yes.
Knowing what clients are coming to you, the one information fast, blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. What clients of you want to make sure that you're meeting with them in a fun environment and, like that. And then what are the ones that need extra nurturing? And what are the ones that literally need the facts and they need everything bullet pointed laid out? Because when you do that, just like you said, knowing your stuff and keeping your clients, like, I feel like this goes back to that as well. When you can take care of your people the way they want to be taken care of, not the way that you want to be taken care of, the way that they want to be taken care of. That's when you have lifelong customers, right? Clients.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And to your point, Kelly, all of these things build on each other, right? Mm-hmm. If you can't take any one of these things in silos, they all are interrelated. Yes. And so you have to be a skillsman to make sure that you're doing all of these things collectively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for you then, like, the $1 million question, how did you do that? Be able to put them all together?
So you set me up, Kelly, because my last point in my keys for success is we as individuals, we as women, we as minorities in the workplace, in society, have to stop comparing our behind the scenes with everybody else's highlight reel. I read that in a book and I wrote it down because it spoke to me so much, because that is what we do. We know what we do on a daily basis to scrap and scrape to get where we are. And then we look at social media and we see people's books and we see all the highlight reels of the fabulous things that they do. And we have no idea what it took them to get there. And we're comparing all of our struggles to that. Stop.
Right.
Stop doing that.
Yep.
Compare your highlights to their highlights. And I bet you I bet you that you will compare and you will be equal.
Right. That's good. And
level the playing field.
Yes. And social media has really just upped the comparison game, sure, a million-fold since you and I were back in high school and college, before
where it didn't exist.
When the only people we had to compare ourselves to were literally the people in front of us. Exactly. Right. It wasn't pick up our phone and see what millions of people were doing all over the place. You know what I mean? It was like the people that were just right in front of you that you knew what was going on. So, yeah.
And that's personally and professionally, because now they can also compare your business and what you do to businesses around the globe, really.
Yeah.
And so you have to take all of that into consideration, and that kind of gets us back to what I actually do, which is marketing, because all of those things you need to look at, and you need to have an overall strategy to be able to combat that personally and professionally.
Yes. That is something that I actually work with a lot of women on in my clientele, because I feel like no matter where you are on your success track, that can creep in. It always has to come back around, right? And I also feel like we can do some flipping of the script there and going, you know what? Like, Alesha wrote a book, and if she can do it, I can do it. Instead of going, she wrote a book, I didn't. Like, I'm behind. You know what I mean? Like, I'm behind the game. What am I doing? But going, okay, she did it, and that means it's possible, and I can do it. And maybe I need to have a conversation with her and see how she did it. You know what I mean? And if we really all like rallied around each other, I was listening to, and I'm sure you not listening, reading, I think, statistics about women. I think it was on LinkedIn, and it was like 10% of the Fortune 500 companies are now like led by women or something. Okay. Yay, like 10%. And I'm like, and like, that's it. Like only 10%. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're not back at 5, and yet we're still only at 10%. However, we can look at that and go, okay, 10%, like we're doing it.
Yes.
And we can keep doing it. And there is a way for us in this world. So yeah.
But it goes back to something that you said, that we should be celebrating each other. So that's also, finding your tribe.
Yes.
Those people that you can learn from, that have gone through the fire, and they can teach you where the pitfalls are so you don't have to fall.
Yes, for sure. Yes. Yeah. So I know you, I know you said you had mentioned one of the challenges we talked about, like right in the beginning. Are there any other challenges that you face as a business owner, as a woman, as a, you are busy and you do a lot. So what does that look like for you?
Just finding the time to authentically network. So I'm not talking about going to events and counting the number of business cards you collect. I'm talking about going to places and finding people that you truly authentically connect with, like you and I, when we met at a networking event and we truly connected, versus just passing out business cards.
Yes.
And finding people that you are evenly yoked with, that you have something in common with, something that we can lift each other up.
Yes, 100%. I agree. And I was actually having a conversation with with my dad about this. And, my dad was a salesman and, anyway, we were just having a conversation about all the people that I meet out networking, because I do a lot of networking, but just this right here of then, you and I meet, we stood there and chatted for quite a while, just the two of us, you know what I mean? It was lovely. Then I was like, you need to be on my podcast. Like, you're amazing, and then this happens, right? And then going back to, and then what? Like, how do we make sure, if we do not run in the same circles, you know what I mean? If we don't live by each other, blah, 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 like, how do we keep that going?
Yes.
So that it does keep going, because you know what I mean? Like, to keep that synergy going,
for sure.
Which I feel like is a challenge when we're business owners, because the next thing you know, we jump off of here and life goes on and we're like, oh, I gotta answer emails and do blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean? And so that's, we need to brainstorm that together so we can come up with ways, because I feel like that is definitely a struggle for people,
It is, it's definitely, because you have to be intentional, and there's only 24 hours in a day for all of us.
Yes,
so we have
correct.
to choose how we spend those hours.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So for you, moving forward, like, what are your goals in life and business?
My goals are to help as many small businesses as I can get on the right track and think about marketing in a holistic way. Because to me, you can have the best product or service in the world, and without marketing, no one will know about what it is you do. And if you don't do marketing right, you can be throwing money out of the window and letting it fly away.
When you say holistically, like help the listeners understand, does that, so as a health and wellness person, holistically to me means mind, body, spirit, right? Like I want to make sure that when we're talking about stress and that's what that means.
Yes.
In the marketing world, what does that mean? Yeah. What does that mean to you? Yeah.
Thank you for bringing me back to explain things.
Yeah.
Basically, for me means businesses will come to me and say, Alesha, I need to be on social media. And I go, well, why? And this is what I get. Silence. Because they don't even know why. They just feel like that's marketing and that's what they should be doing. So holistic for me means stepping back and actually having a sound strategy for your business and your business goals to be able to allow marketing to reach those goals. So you have to understand who you're targeting, what those people look like, what are their demographics, psychographics, sociographics, where can you reach them? Are they even on social media? They may not, who you're targeting may not even be on social media.
Right.
Or you can say, I want to target 23-year-olds and I absolutely need to be on Facebook, and I will tell you, you'll never reach them.
Exactly. Right? Yes, correct.
So holistic. And then how does that digital presence connect with your non-digital presence? So how does all of those things work together? So understanding all of your channels, making sure that your messaging is consistent, that your marketing is consistent. We make over 10,000 decisions a day. From what time you're going to wake up to what you put on to whether you're going to take a bath or a shower. I mean, just the tiniest of decisions. Am I going to have breakfast? What am I going to have for breakfast? What am I going to have for lunch? What time do I go? So all of that is cluttering your mind. So marketing will clutter it as well. So it takes 7 to 10 times for someone to even remember you. So consistency is key. So all of these things together makes up your marketing strategy and plan. And then you can go out and execute it, understanding what you're trying to achieve and then how you're going to achieve it through a plan. And then execution and tactics become very easy.
Yeah.
So for me, creating that holistic approach for my clients is what's important.
And are you in the process of are you still building? Are you now scaling? What, you know what I mean? If you don't mind me asking.
That in between stage. So I founded my company in 2020, right before the pandemic. Which, is a scary thing for us all. But, we've made it through. I've made it through as an entrepreneur. And so I would say that I am definitely still growing. I am welcoming additional clients, and I am trying to ensure that I put the processes in place that when I do grow and scale, I can begin to bring people on as employees, and I have a process to ensure that clients are all taken care of in a similar fashion.
Yes.
So I'm in that in-between stage of growing and scaling.
Yes. Yes. And what you just said, like the whole systems and processes, you gotta have those in place. I mean, that
For sure.
goes for all of us.
Yes.
Because if not, there will come, and I don't care where you are, even if you're way up here and you're ready to scale again, you're going to need new systems and processes, for wherever you're going next. You know what I mean? So
because it looks different if I'm doing
correct.
everything versus if I have independent contractors versus if I have full-time employees.
Yes.
If I have 3 employees or 20 employees,
Right.
all that looks very different. And you need to be able to adjust and accommodate all of those scenarios.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. So what accomplishments are you really proud of that you would like to share? Like, I want you to brag on yourself for a minute. What do you want to share?
And I think many entrepreneurs will have this very same accomplishment, but just simply making it through the pandemic and still being able to thrive after the pandemic. Because I will tell you, people from a marketing perspective were chomping at the bit to get some marketing help because they knew they were going to need that coming out of the pandemic. And it did my heart proud that I could help them with that.
Yeah, that's great. And I 100% agree with that. Like those any business owner that made it, I don't care if you were large, small, whatever, because the large businesses, they just have different problems. You know what I mean? Like the pandemic just affected that, they're trying to figure out how to manage all the people and handle all, like whatever. Any business owner that truly made it out of the pandemic as a business owner, like we all need to be giving ourselves pats on the back right now.
100%. 100%. So I would say that, and just the tenacity to make it through all of the challenges and the difficult times, but still being able to figure it out and make a way.
Yes. Now, I know that you said, and you're not, bragging on yourself in this way. So I'll bring it back up here real quick, that you are an advocate for your community. And, do you want to go into a little bit more detail about that?
Sure.
So I imagine you can brag on yourself.
Being an African-American woman, I have a special place in my heart for women and minority businesses. So I will work with you. I will work with your budget to make sure that you're getting the assistance you need, because oftentimes those are the businesses that need the most help, but no one will help them. So that's kind of where I come in. I do serve on several nonprofit boards because I have always done that. And I am a huge advocate for underserved communities, whether it is economic development, arts, engagement and exposure, just whatever it is to make people whole and to make people enjoy life and have opportunities that are not always afforded to them. So that's kind of what I do. And I support them with my time, talent, and treasure. So like I said, I serve on boards, I donate, I volunteer. I mean, sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, when you're an executive, you just want to go and volunteer and not necessarily be in charge.
Right.
I do that too.
Yes. Yeah. Good. That's great. That's great. Excellent. Well, you have shared some fabulous wisdom. I loved your ahas that you shared. So where can listeners find you after this? Where can they connect with you?
They can connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Dose Insight. They can also go to my website, www.dose, insight, insight.com. So adoseofinsight.com.
Excellent. Okay, that sounds fabulous. So listeners, if you need marketing help, You need to connect with Alesha. I love the approach of making sure that it's very holistic, looking at everything, and just knowing my business and what I have done through that. Like, I definitely value all that we have talked about just from your point of view. Like, I really love hearing about that, because I think you can end up down rabbit holes of marketing. I truly do.
For sure.
Yes,
for
absolutely. Sure. So, and there are many different ways to go, and taking the expert in you and listening. That's what I'm going to say. So I will have all of those links in the show notes so that people can connect with you in that way.
Thank you.
Do you do some kind of like a I call them strategy calls. I don't know. What do you call them? Like,
I am happy to give listeners a 30-minute free consultation. Again, you can go to my website. There is a contact us form that you can fill out, and I am happy to reach out to you and schedule some time to talk about your business as well as your marketing needs.
Oh, excellent. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today. I'm glad we got to see each other again.
I am too. Thank you so much for the invite. I'm honored.
Yes, you are welcome. And listeners, please make sure that you comment, that you share, you like, pass this on to somebody else who that just needs to be uplifted today and hear this podcast. And I hope you have a fabulous week. And I will be back next week with more Winning in Business. Thank you for being a part of the Winning in Business podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to rise up to your next level of success, but are worried about increased stress, time for work and yourself and your family, not to mention being exhausted, I'd like to invite you to a complimentary strategy call where I'll show you how you can do it all. I'll help you reclaim time, keep your sanity, handle the chaos with ease, and move to the next level of success that you deserve and desire. I hope you found value in listening today. Please always leave your comments, feedback, or questions. We check them all. I want you to continue winning in business and reach your next level of success. See you next time.